Hey guys, Wes here. So I'm just going to do an update across all three of my tanks because I have changed quite a bit around in each of them. So here's the goldfish tank to start. I actually got 5 pounds of more gravel, but unfortunately they must have had a slightly different kind that they were selling under the same name. So you can see, it's kind of hard to see from far back, but there's a little bit of difference in the sand. You can see some more coarse sections like right there, but then there's some finer black sections. So they actually have been selling what they call Black Beauty gravel under with two slightly different types. So I actually stirred that up to try and make it a little more uniform, and then I pulled all the plants out and I scrubbed off all the leaves because they were all disgusting with algae, and the snails just weren't getting to it. So I might be getting another snail if the algae problem happens again. So I kind of centered the hydro a little bit more. It wasn't quite in the middle, and the Anubias is basically in the same formation, but I moved the Java Fern a little bit. It's not on the outside edges anymore. And I might have mentioned this already in a previous video, but I propagated the hydro. There's a baby one right there. It was sprouting off the bottom of the taller one, and I just plucked it off. So hopefully that hydro gets bigger because I love the look of it, and it's a nitrate buster, so it soaks up a lot of nutrients. Next, I'm going to do the beta tank. Not a whole lot has changed here. Excuse me. I still haven't solved my surface agitation problem. Let me try and get that to focus. There we go. Everything's been doing well. The narrowleaf Java Fern has been sustaining itself, I guess. It hasn't really gotten any bigger. I actually have seen some roots grow out the bottom though. I'm just going to take this airline tubing out of here for a second. So you can see the narrowleaf over here. There's some roots coming out of the bottom, and I also see a new leaf coming on, so that it's nice to see that rhizome is expanding a little bit. That big moss ball you can see is kind of brownish. It's actually a little more brown in person. I'm not sure why that's not doing well. I might put some fertilizers in here maybe. I actually did turn it over when I did my water changes yesterday, so I'm not quite exactly sure what's going on with that, but the small moss ball you can see is nice and dark green, and there's actually a small branch or little stem sticking out of it, and I'm not exactly sure what that is because I'm pretty sure marimo balls aren't supposed to have stems coming out of them, so I just kind of plucked that off. The regular Java Fern to the left of the marimo ball right there, that hasn't really done much either. I'm hoping that it will get taller and fill up that empty space a little bit more soon, because there's really no tall things in here except the driftwood. And then the two nano Anubias nanas, there's one right there and the one right to the left of the moss ball. Those have been sustaining as well. At first, before I got this new light fixture, I did lose a few leaves off of those, but I think they're going to start sprouting maybe some more. That'd be nice to see. I have 4 crypt parvas in here. One of them is behind that smaller Anubias nana petite, and the other one is right there. Those have been doing better in here than they were in the 20-gallon. And the other two, there's one right there, and then there's one kind of underneath that pennywort, which I will talk about in a second. But yes, the Cryptocorn parva has been doing pretty well. It's been sprouting some new leaves. Let me see which of them have new leaves. 2 of them are sprouting new leaves right now, and that's more growth than I've ever seen on them. They didn't really do anything in the 20-gallon. I'm guessing the light was probably too high, but that's okay. Now they're in here. I didn't have to throw them out. I have two regular Anubias nana in the back. You can see one leaf is right there, and then there's another one right there. Those are tied to rocks. I have been clipping some of the leaves off because they've kind of started to get torn at the edges and algae on them, so I clipped those off, and there's like 3 or 4 leaves coming on each rhizome, so that's really good news. The Anubias congensis in the corner, it's kind of like cut in half, like an optical illusion in the corner right there. That hasn't done a whole lot either. It hasn't died, it hasn't expanded, it's just been there and it's been doing okay, I guess. And then the Brazilian pennywort, which is in the corner right there, I pulled that out of the 20 gallon, and you will see why in just a minute. But most of the leaves have melted off of that, and I'm guessing that's just the adjustment period with that plant, and I'm hoping that it'll spring back and grow a little bit taller maybe. I'm not sure if I'll keep that in there in the long run. But then last is the peacock moss on the driftwood. You can see it looks a lot more green than it has in the past. It's been growing like crazy. It's basically grown that far in like a week and a half since I got that new light probably. Unfortunately I can't get any closer because my phone that I'm recording on is plugged in right now. But you can see that it looks really green, and it's starting to branch out kind of on the bottom half right there. It's starting to take its kind of sloped like growth pattern like peacock feathers. It's kind of hard to explain. Just think of if you're drawing a Christmas tree and it's like sloping down, that's kind of how it grows, and it's starting to grow out a little bit. It's getting really green towards the top there where the beta is, and it's kind of growing out the bottom, which I'm not huge on. I'd rather it stay more on top of the driftwood, but I'm glad that it's growing period, and maybe if it grows enough I could clip some off and potentially put it in the 20 gallon or any other tank that I decide to get. Now last, I have to move the tripod a little bit. Here is the 20 gallon. Let's actually go down a little bit. There we go, that's a better angle. A lot has changed in here. You can see that my piece of driftwood that I had before is not in here because I got that Taiwan moss, and that just I wasn't even going to plan on putting it on that piece of driftwood. It just wouldn't have looked nice. So I got this piece of spider driftwood at my LFS. It was kind of expensive, so if you're looking for spider wood, bring at least $30 to your pet store. You can't see a whole lot, but there is Taiwan moss on the 4 taller extremities. When I first initially tied it on, I didn't wrap it enough, and I don't think I ended up tying it off tight enough. So most of the moss came off, and I'm sure the angelfish was picking at it, and then a lot of it got caught in the filter intake, and a lot of it died when it was on the filter intake. So I tried to pull as much off of there as I could, and I grabbed the little extra ones that were attached to other plants or floating around, and I tied the best I could the rest of it on. I'm hoping it will come back because it was really expensive, and it's like the only opportunity I've had to get a nice kind of moss like that. But other than that, there are a few other things I've changed in this tank. The pinwheel sword I moved over there. I moved a few of the crypts to the other side of the driftwood to give something a little bit taller over there. The crypt wendidee has basically stayed the same. I adjusted a few of them so they weren't in the way of the driftwood, because there's a branch that comes off the bottom right there that's kind of stuck under the gravel, and I couldn't have one of the plants right there. The 4 little pygmy chain swords that I got out of my one pot have been growing. That one especially has probably, let me see if I can just count quickly, probably like 6 or 8 new leaves coming out of the center. I cut all the brown ones off, so hopefully they'll all start sprouting new leaves. I think all 3 of them, but that smaller one right there next to the little zebra snail, has been sprouting new leaves. So that's exciting. And you're probably wondering, where the heck did the Ludwigia go? I can't say that word. You can see one of the stems right there, back by the Harlequin rasporas, but as you know, I didn't have CO2 in this tank or enough iron, so all of the nice red leaves fell off, and it started to sprout a little bit more at the top of each of the stems. So I cut the top of the stems off, and you can see the biggest one is right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stems, including that one stem that's bare, that's kind of right there. I'm hoping that since it does have roots on the bottom, that maybe it will pop out some leaves on top and start growing. This one right here, you can see that weird leaf that's kind of on the left side. That's it's sprouting new leaves, but that one big leaf is gonna fall off soon, so that stem was resurrected. I actually am working on getting pressurized CO2 for this tank. There's no promise on when it will be coming. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks. I'll be ordering it in the next 2 weeks, excuse me. I'm pretty solid on the idea of getting the new Aquatech of California mini CO2 regulator and solenoid. It's a mini CO2 regulator. I wouldn't say it could handle like a 55-gallon by itself, because it only attaches to paintball tanks. So I'm going to be getting a 20-ounce CO2 paintball tank, and that attaches right onto the regulator. It's designed to be used without an adapter, and I'm not exactly sure what kind of diffuser I'm going to use. I think I'm just going to go ahead and buy the Aquatech of California 3-in-1 diffuser. It has a check valve, bubble counter, and diffuser in it. The regulator actually comes with its own bubble counter, so I won't be using the diffuser as a bubble counter. I'm just using it because it has a really good rating, and I just feel more comfortable getting the same brand as the regulator. The CO2 tubing I'm going to be using is also Aquatech of California, so I'm basically sticking with that brand. I saw this in Jacob Castro's, or Jacob's Aquarium's latest video. Not latest, one of his most recent videos on the 3-in-1 regulator, excuse me. Go ahead and watch that. It was a really informative video. So I think I'll be getting CO2 soon. Hopefully that Ludwigia will take off. Otherwise, none of my other plants really need the CO2, but of course all plants benefit from it. I'm thinking mostly the Pygmy Chainsword will benefit from the CO2 second to the Ludwigia. So I'm going to be ordering that probably in the next 2 weeks. I will probably get a video out, like an unboxing probably, of the regulator and the diffuser, hopefully in the next month. And I'm probably not going to be doing any sorts of reviews on them because I have such limited experience with CO2. So yeah, this video is getting pretty long. So I'm going to thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and subscribe. I love seeing that number going up. Give this video a thumbs up as well. That's awesome. And if you have any feedback, any advice on using CO2, or any general feedback on my tanks, if you think they look good, or if you think you would change anything to make them look better, go ahead and leave a comment as well. I read and reply to every single comment. So I'm going to thank you guys for watching again, and I will see you next time.